Hello, my dear friends of Symphonic Brass Music, and welcome to this question I get asked sometime. Why am I working so digital? And does that ever even sound good? And my answer to the second question is yes. And the answer to the first question is in this video. So, when I started this studio here, the Obscure Music Studio, a bit smaller, a bit different. But when I started, like 9 years ago, when I started the studio 9 years ago, I bought myself a mixing console. I bought myself a Tascam M3500, which you might know because I did a video about it years back. Which is a small inline console from like the 80s. It's made for 8-channel Tascam tape recorders. It's a really basic mixing board with an EQ on it, insert points. Obviously, it's an insert console, so small for the large fader, to tape and return, and it was pretty easy to handle. So I bought this and put it into the control room, which still is the control room. And I worked on this board quite some time. But after some time I figured, well, it's a bit noisy. And I started using the other preamps I had just flying around. I had one Gold mic. I bought this TL Audio preamp from a colleague back then, and I had this Focusrite, and I got the RME preamp from a friend, which I'm still happily using, which is not mine, it's his. Yeah, had that. And I started using these preamps. This one, way more often than I used the console, and actually had to manage the level into Pro Tools so that it's not too noisy. Because the console was noisy, and I figured out it is noisy because, yeah, my ears got better and whatnot. So I was working more and more inside the computer, and the console was holding me back sound-wise. I even mixed one record on the board, which sounded horrible because I wasn't ready to mix on a console. And so, yeah, there are decisions made on this console which are just horrible. I would love to change them, but I can't because it's mixed on a console I don't longer own, and yeah, don't know, not possible. And while I'm just setting up my computer, because I just set it back, I figured, well, this is not working for mixing, obviously. And when it came up to recording, this board only offered me 2 mono headphone mixes, which were awesome because I could do them on fader, on putties, and I could do them individually, so I could give the drummer a very unique mix, and so on and so forth. But it was still mono. No way to get the stereo. Obviously, there are other boards providing different opportunities, but this was what I had, so I worked with it, and I wasn't happy with it. And started doing headphone mixes out of the computer. And I figured out, well, this is way more easy. This is way more easy. And if I switch between sessions, everything stays the same, and or not if it's supposed to be different, and so on and so forth. And I can work way more flexible by using the computer. And then I gave this a big thought and sold the console. Sold the console and had the setup. Since then, I have the setup I use now. 25 preamps available, 24 inputs into Pro Tools, 16 outputs, which I use for my monitors, for my monitoring system, and for the headphones. And I can do 5 different headphone mixes out of Pro Tools to give up to 20 musicians at a time. So there can be 20 musicians getting 5 different stereo headphone mixes at once, all out of Pro Tools. And the reason why I do this is, and I had this call yesterday with a band potentially coming in and how I worked, and I said, well, yeah, it's no problem if you split your session over several weekends. This is no problem because my session stays the same. So if they come in on a Saturday and Sunday, leave on the Sunday, I save my sessions, and if they come in the next weekend or 3 weeks later or whenever, everything is the same. The levels in my system are the same. So the only thing we need to match, and we need to match this if we're working on a console anyway, is mic placement and gain. And I will happily take photos where the mics are and how I set up the preamps. So the only variant is mic and gain, and this can be solved by taking pictures. Now you could say, well, yeah, you can take pictures of your console as well. Yes, but it's one putty and one fader more. You will not get 100% in the same spot. And it's one part more which might have changed. I hope you know what I mean. And it takes more time, obviously, to set back a console to the state it was in than just open up a Pro Tools session. Talking mixing, this is a whole new level. And basically because I work very in chaos and skip through different sessions all the time, it's the only way that will work 100% in the box. There's no way I could work with analog equipment just because of the way I work. So no way I'm gonna mix on analog anymore. Simply because that's just the way I work. And I know that stuff like tape emulation, saturation, blah, 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 is on a really, really high level, so you won't hear it at all. And yeah, all this flexibility is worth, for me, being that digital. And that's the reason why I work so much on the computer and so little on hardware. Because it's just the mic, which is really, really important, the preamp, or the instrument, which is really, really important, the mic, which is really, really important, the preamp, which is a bit important, and the rest is all in the box. Let me know if you work a bit different, if you work in the box or outside the box, with a console or whatever. Just let me know in the comments down below. Happy to read it, happy to answer. If you have any questions, leave them down below as well. Thanks very, very much for watching. I made myself a coffee and then start working because it just took me 3 hours to reset my computer. It's really, really fast. Thanks very, very much for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.